yo. Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling with Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, really time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today we have a very special guest on. As you can see, we got Haley Simon with us. Haley, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good. I saw you bopping in the background. I saw you bopping to the intro. I had to get ready for football. You know, that gets me hyped for football. But we are going to talk some Eagles. Obviously, training camp is, underway. We're getting ready for, things to actually matter, right? We go through some preseason games and then things actually matter. So we're going to hop right into it. I want to ask you just your thoughts on this offseason so far, and just like who you think may have been the biggest addition for our Birds.
Yeah, so coming into this offseason, one player that's so notable is Nakobe Dean. I love Nakobe, and he's going to really improve our defense. I think adding him, especially to this amazing defensive roster that we have going on, is going to significantly improve us. We have an all-star offense, okay? And the one thing that the Birds kind of needed last season was a defense. We have Nakobe Dean, and I'm telling you, this kid is going to impress us all. I am so excited for him.
Yeah, Nakobe's and bringing Jordan Davis along for the ride is a beautiful thing as well. Being able to pair those guys back up. Yeah, you said it perfectly. This defense was a major concern last year and going into the offseason. Obviously, that I live in Tampa, so I went to that Tampa playoff game. It wasn't fun to watch. I'll tell you that much. The pre-game, post-game was way totally different energy, but it is what it is. We learn from that. We move on. So I want to ask you, looking at that offense, you did say we have an all-star offense, and I tend to agree with you. We got some great additions on that team, but you got an addition and A.J. Brown, obviously kind of the marquee move of this offseason. Does that change what you think these Eagles are going to try and be on the offense? Obviously, last year, towards the end of the year, we saw them become kind of a run-first offense, Do you think that carries over into this year, or do you think now that we have this wide receiving core, it's kind of bombs away?
I hope it's bombs away. I can tell you this, Jalen Hurts is one of those quarterbacks that definitely has coachability to him. I want to see him throw the ball more. I don't want to see all these rushing plays. I want to see him throw the ball. And we have such great wide receivers now. And there's been reports that actually Jalen Reagor, who is somebody that I am not a big fan of, has been improving in this training camp. So hopefully, if we have these all-star wide receivers, again, A.J. Brown was a great addition, then I don't see why not. I think that Jalen Hurts, and I'm a ride or die Hurts girl. It's something about him. He's very likable. Yeah. And I think that with Sirianni and the coaching staff, there's no reason that Hurts can't go in week one and begin throwing the ball. I think that, especially in the NFL, this is not a passing kind of football game. This is more of a throwing game. And Hurts, he knows what's on the line. I mean, no one really needs to say it, Joe. It's kind of one of those things where it's like you're either going to make or break it this year, and he knows that.
Definitely, yeah, and I think he is very likable, right? It's the sayings, it's the swagger, it's everything. I mean, I'm one on this channel to like to highlight every aspect of every player. We got to take the good with the bad. Obviously, Hurts had a very impressive rookie season, on standards of a rookie, especially in the type of offense we ran towards the latter part of the year. But there are improvements, right? And there are things you want to see him improve. Just even if he was the greatest of quarterbacks, you want to see the next year something step up. Is there anything you can think of with Jalen Hurts that you're looking at and saying, listen, if you can get this better, this will shut everybody up that's doubting you?
I think it's confidence. I think football is a game where you have to be confident. And I want to take us back to that 2017 Super Bowl run. I hate talking about him, but Carson Wentz, he had that confidence and swagger. He got injured. And that's what a great quarterback is. You look at quarterbacks that are so iconic, like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, and they all have this confidence to them. And Hurts is still young. He's, I believe, 23 years old, same age as me. And playing in front of a Philadelphia crowd is very difficult. As a fan, I can admit we're not that easy. But I think if he gains that confidence to him, then we're going to like him. He's a likable guy, and everybody, I think, wants him to succeed. I don't get the people
Definitely,
that
yeah.
don't want to succeed.
Yeah, and look, I've been critical. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you or sugarcoat it. I've been critical, especially through the season, because when you're in the moment, that's when you're the most upset, right? You get on here right after a game. It's hard for me to not be upset if we lose. So sometimes I
Right.
get a little critical, but I will say I want to see whoever my quarterback is succeed. Whoever my I want to see anybody that's wearing those Eagles colors to succeed. Now I want to kind of switch gears a little bit to the running game because that last year again we were a great running team last year. Do you
Yep.
think that Miles Sanders, I want to kind of key in on him, what are your thoughts about Miles Sanders? There's been a lot of speculation of whether this is his last year, what he needs to do to stay, if it's even a possibility. Just how do you feel about Miles Sanders, and do you think he'll be back next year?
I like Sanders. I just think that he won't be back. And it's nothing against him personally. It's just one of those things when you look at this Eagles, especially the front office and the moves that they've been making throughout the years, they've been really wanting that change lately, and they really haven't been holding on to many players that have been on the team since I believe 2019, 2018. So I don't think he'll be back. But what I expect out of him, I expect him to have a good year. I think it's important for him as well, because if he has a good year, then that means other teams will see him. And for his own sake, he wants to be in the NFL. So I
Yeah.
don't see him kind of downplaying his game, but I don't expect him to be great. I think that last season was a tricky season, right? And the Eagles were in a position where they kind of got stuck with him. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we really relied on him heavily because of the situation with Hurts. And it is what it is. So I don't think he'll be back. But who knows? I mean, this team is full of surprises. So if he has a good season, he could potentially stay.
Yeah, I love Miles. I'm a Penn State fan, but it is what it is. It's a reality once you get to the NFL that and nothing's guaranteed, right? At any moment you can lose your job. So I hope that, and especially when you look at this team, right? We're a team that really likes to run by committee. There's so many guys. I kind of feel like you throw some pads and a helmet on me, I could probably go out there and get three a clip or something like it.
Let's
Our
do it.
offensive line is really the honus of our run game, right? So it's unfortunate, but I hope to see something, kind of come of it. We'll see what happens. I root for him as a person. I hope he does well. Now, you said surprise, right? And that kind of brings me to my next question. Do you see anybody on this team that's gonna that you're just kind of stamping right now, saying, "Listen, I think this guy's gonna surprise a lot of people next year."
That's a great question. You know, it's not necessarily a player, Joe, which comes to my mind when I think of surprise. The first person that came to my head is Gannon.
Mm,
And Gannon, defensive coordinator, I think he got a lot of criticism last season. I think he's going to surprise us with the plays that he runs with defense. I can't think of a particular player. I kind of know what I'm expecting out of Brown and N'Kobe Dean and Jordan Davis and Hurts and Sanders. Darius Slay. I think that we kind of expect that. I think that if I could give a surprise to a specific player, though, and not just a position, that's just what came to my mind. I think it's going to be Jason Kelsey. I do believe this is me his last
mm,
season, and I'm not expecting big numbers out of him. I don't expect him to be, the best, but I expect him as his last season potentially in the NFL to surprise us with that last bit of like adrenaline, enthusiasm. I
yeah.
don't know. That's just the kind of guy that he is. So I think he's going to surprise us.
Yeah, we need one more like speech, right? We need one more dressed up speech on Broadway. We need just one more. That's all we need from you,
Another
Kelsey, and then you
Super
can
Bowl?
ride off into the sun. That's what that's all we need. I'm not asking for much. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. But I do want to keep on. I want to keep on kind of going off what you said because you're kind of leading me into my next question kind of perfectly. You brought up Gannon. Gannon did have a lot of talk on him, and again, I'll listen. Guilty. It is what it is. Last year was rough looking at this defense. You go from top three in sacks to bottom three in sacks. A lot of people say it was because of the lack of talent. So my question, I guess, is: do you believe that he has the talent now to really turn this team or this defense into a top 10 unit again?
He has the resources. The Birds do look one of the best defensive teams in the NFL right now. I can think of other teams that are better, but I can't really think of a reason why they're not going to be. So I
Yeah.
think, again, this is one of those years, Joe, where you look at the Eagles and you have to say they have the weapons, right, as we call it. So there's no reason that Gannon can't have a great defense, but it's up to his coaching ability and it's up to his knowledge and experience with the game. And if he can't perform, then I don't think he's going to have a job come next season or even halfway through the season. I think that, Howie Roseman in the office, they're going to be evaluating since week 1. I mean, probably they're evaluating now. Who am I kidding? And when it comes
Yeah.
week 1, I'm telling you about that week 7, week 8 period, he may not have a job. If it really depends. A lot of pressure on Gannon. I can tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting. I like it though. I like putting pressure back on the coaches. I feel like there was so many times go through like the Jim Schwartz era on defense. He never really was given players. There was so many excuses you could have made, for him. Don't get me wrong, he had his part in the destruction of that defense. But there was a lot of times that you're looking at that linebacking crew and you're like, what are we doing here? That cornerback room, and you're like, what are we doing here? So it's nice to see that we're finally putting the pressure back where it belongs. It should be on the coaches. So I'm with it. I'm excited. I know I keep hearing a lot about, our cornerbacks coach, Denard. I forget his last name. I don't know why it's slipping my name right now, but I'm hearing a lot about him possibly being the next guy up. I've heard a lot of people just say straight up that it's most likely going to be Jonathan Gannon's last year. He's either going to outperform and go crazy with this defense and get a bunch of head coaching offers, right? Or he's going to, like you said, not probably make it to, the week 8 or whatever you want to say. So it's going to be an interesting scenario. I wanted to bring up somebody else on the defense because you did bring up Jason Kelsey's last year, possibly with the Eagles. Most likely it looks like that. And you could say the same thing about a Fletcher Cox. How do you feel? Do you think having Jordan Davis is going to kind of take away from him riding off into the sunset with a great year? Or do you think that might help him actually, kind of less snaps, less on the body, maybe more, production?
I think it's going to be a good transition, to be honest. I think Fletcher Cox, especially in the locker room, he's a great guy. And all the reports about him that, even Schefter puts out and all those guys, he's a great guy. And I think that him having that kind of last season, and I hope it's not, I really do like Fletcher Cox. He's grown to be one of my favorite players on the Birds, which is why I am kind of in denial about this. But I think that he's going to be a good mentor for Davis. And I think Davis, I mean, this kid is insane. His physical ability is unreal. And I think that having a Fletcher Cox will kind of guide him in that right direction of how to get, your body in the best shape possible, mentally strong. And I think that it's going to be a good transition. Yeah, of course, it's going to take away from Cox's potential last year. I mean, there was no doubt about it. All the eyes will be on Davis and this new guy, Jordan Davis, and the eyes won't be as much on Cox. But I think for when I talk football, I'm a very Eagles first person, right? So my main goal is how we can win.
Yeah,
And
nah.
that's just how it is. My broadcasting side comes out of me, my fan side kind of goes away. So my broadcasting side is saying, Hale, this is how we're going to win, is having somebody mentor this young, defensive player into becoming not exactly what Cox is, but kind of that guy on defense that you can rely on. So I think that's going to be it. But as terms of a fan perspective, it's going to definitely take away. But I think come week 16, 17, that last week, I'm telling you, Birds will make it to the postseason. But I think that all the fans will kind of realize, hey, this is going to be Cox's potential, last time playing at the Link. And it's just one of those things where I think the attention will be back on him.
It's gonna be emotional. If you don't want to say it, I'll say it. It's gonna be emotional, Haley. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna have a carton of ice cream and just be upset. I'll tell you that much right now. Especially if it's a great year from him, right? You're gonna have like that. You don't gotta go yet. You can do it again, but
one more
it is
season.
what it is. Exactly. We're gonna be hoping that he comes back.
Feel that.
Just being dragged by his coattail, but it's all good. It's all good. He gave us a great career, so I'm not mad at it.
A lot of
Yeah.
heart.
So we talked about a lot of good things about Philadelphia Eagles. There is a lot of good things to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, but I have to be a pessimist every now and then, right? They got to clip something.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, if you look at this team and you think of a weakness, is there anything that stands out on this team? And if there is, what is the vulnerability of the Philadelphia Eagles, in your opinion?
Offense, our quarterback. As much as I say I'm going to ride with Hurts, of course, and that's my quarterback. I think if you're not a football fan, then you won't get it. But football fans know you always got to stick with your quarterback, even though
Yeah.
they may make you really nervous. We have all the weapons. We have our receivers. We have a strong defense. We have everything. Special teams is good. The only thing that I feel really nervous about heading into the season is Jalen Hurts' ability. I don't like what I'm hearing from training camp. There's been a lot of reports saying that he's not been doing well, and that's concerning. And while it's just training camp, there is time to improve. It does make you think, how will this affect him week one? I mean,
Yeah.
it's an away game. It's not even like he's at the home field advantage. So that makes me, I'm nervous. I'm not, I got to tell you, I ride with him, but I'm nervous. I need him to just throw that ball. I can't do any more of this rushing game. I need him to throw that ball, and I think I'll feel better. But that's definitely a weakness, huge weakness.
Yeah, I respect. I wasn't expecting. I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting you to maybe like sashay into something totally different, and I wouldn't have been mad at it. Look, I do like Hurts. Like I said, I am very critical of his play because we have to be as fans. We have to
Mhm.
be realistic about the situation we're in. We are in a very rare situation that we can go out there and get a top quarterback, whether it be draft, whether it be free agency, whether it be trade, whatever it may be. We're kind of set up for the future, and we have to, as fans, be aware of that and make the right decision, or at
Right.
least, hope for the right decision. I guess we don't really make the decision, but it is what it is. I got a couple more questions, and then we'll get you out of here. But the big overall question, I guess, is what are your expectations for the Eagles this year? Is this we make it to the playoffs and we're out? Is this we got to win a game? Is this a Super Bowl team? What are your expectations for Philly?
11-6. First off, I
Mm,
put that out there. I really do believe they're gonna. I mean, last season they won 9, I believe, and this season there was no reason they can't win 2 more games than they did last season, especially with how much they struggled last season. So 11-6. That's my prediction. This is iffy. I want to be crazy, Joe. I want to say Super Bowl. I want to be that person because I am so crazy about my team where I want to say, you know what? The Eagles, Super Bowl, you'll see 2 rings in like less than 5 years. But realistically, we're going to win the NFC East. I'm not worried about Dallas. That's our only real competition. I'm not worried about washed up Wentz or Daniel Jones. Like, that's not competition. What I am nervous about, though, is that NFC division.
yeah.
I want to say maybe divisionals. I don't see why we can't make it there, but at the same time, time will tell. But I can't say I want us to be out first round, right? That seems a little like weak. That's not being
Yeah.
all in.
That's no fun. That's no.
I want to have, you know what I have to tell you? I love the playoffs, right? I'll watch every team in the playoffs. I'll watch every game. I'm crazy about it. I think it would be so fun to just have another playoff ride again. I'm not saying Super Bowl, but maybe divisionals. Maybe we'll get out on that round. We'll be one of the final 4 teams in. I don't know what team we'll lose to. I haven't even thought that far ahead yet. But I think we do have some time. I mean, I say it all the time. The NFC is probably the most difficult, conference to be in out of the 2,
Yeah.
AFC, NFC. It depends on how you look at the game, but it depends on Hurts. Week 1, you know what? Ask me week 1 again after, and I'll give you a better answer because right now I'm like, Hurts will do well. We're going to be fine. But if he doesn't do well, I may take that 11-6 back.
Yeah, and I hear you. I hear you. And we'll see a lot. We'll see a lot once the pads are on and it actually means something. We're gonna hear a lot of different reports over this training camp. We're gonna hear that he does great. We're gonna hear that he does terrible. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But I'm excited to see what happens, and I really do believe. Even if Jalen Hurts is the same quarterback as he was last year, which I do believe there will be a step up. We'll see how big of a step it is. But even if he's the same, this offense is, close to the same as last year. I think this defense is what's going to hopefully push us over the edge. And we'll see what happens when we get to the playoffs. I guess that's going to be very, very interesting. I'm nervously excited. I'll say that
I hear
much.
it in your voice because, like, I'm the same way.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird season, but I do feel like this is a division that we can win. Like you said, the Cowboys have taken a step back. The Giants, I'll say they got better as far as their head coach. They had a good draft, but we'll see what Daniel Jones is. And then, having Wentz coming to our house once this year, that's going to be amazing. We obviously missed it with the Colts, but that's going to be amazing. Then going to Washington. It's good. What game are you looking forward to? Is there a game that you're sitting here being like, when we play this game, I'm going to be, don't call me, don't text me, I'm going to be locked in?
Any Dallas game, 100%. I go to like all the games. I feel like if I'm not at the station, I have to tell you, every single game, even if it's like the stupid games, I'm still like tunnel focused. But I need to take one on Dallas this season. Last year, I was really embarrassed, to be honest. I have a lot of Dallas haters that are always messaging me, "Oh, the Cowboys, this is our year, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, you guys,
Don't we
you're
all?
the
Don't
most
we all?
washed
Right?
up team in the NFL. It's insane when you look at the stats. So I love the Dallas games. I think they're really fun. Any divisional game, I believe, is really fun. I'm obviously Wentz coming. I mean, that's a divisional game. It's Carson coming back. A lot of emotions, I'm telling you, will be in the Lincoln Financial Field that day because a lot of us fans, we got his jersey. We cheered for him. We took him as our own. And for hearing all the reports, and this is what bothers me, when he said, I am upset that Nick Foles is the one that led the team in the Super Bowl. There was reports that he said that. It just shows that's not a team player, and football is a very team sport. So I think that after all that came out and, we haven't seen him, I'm excited because I think all of us that have that number 11 jersey will finally get to kind of show our emotion.
Yeah,
But everybody this year.
I might wear it that day. I'm not gonna lie. I might be that petty guy that just wears the number 11 just to be like, yeah, we will go after this guy. This is the guy you gotta, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is the guy you gotta knock out.
Brown's name on the back.
Exactly. I didn't even think of that. I could save a whole bunch of money by just putting Brown on the back.
I'm going to do this year, to be honest with you, Joe.
Hey, I ain't mad at it. I love it. So this is going to be an interesting year. And like you said, there's so many storylines throughout this year, not just the Carson Wentz. We're going to have Doug Peterson again. We're going to have Frank Reich going against this team again. So it's going to be very exciting. I know I'm excited. Last question I want to ask you. Honestly, it's really more just, giving you the stage. What can we expect next? I know you do talk hockey a lot. So what can the people watching be expecting next from you?
Everything. For those who don't know, I'm a producer at 97.5 The Fanatic, so it's Philadelphia's sports radio station. So I produce there, but I am a football first person, and I really got into hockey, right? And I love hockey. I have my hockey podcast. But little do people know, my first ever sports show was just talking football. It was a roundabout table talking football with the guys. So definitely a lot more football content this year, a lot more birds and throughout the whole NFL. Stuff. I love to sports bet, even though I shouldn't, but I love it. So a lot of stuff on that, but just talking sports, I'm nailing Philly, South Philly, and all I do, I feel like, is talk sports. I was out tonight, and every single person I went up to, I'm like, oh, who's your team? And if they were like, oh, I watch sports, I'm like, oh, go away. So just sports all around. So always around, just talking.
Yes, ma'am. I love it. Well, you're always welcome coming back on the show. That's all we do. We talk Philly, we talk Eagles. It's a whole lot of fun. So you're always welcome back on. I do appreciate your time, and I appreciate everybody in the chat's time. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. What's your Twitter? Let them know your Twitter so they can definitely go check you out on Twitter as well.
So my Twitter is Haley, HALEY _NHL19. Yes, NHL is in hockey. I know. So it's Haley _NHL19. And you guys in the chat, you guys are awesome. You have such loyal subscribers. And I'm gonna give you a compliment right now. I'm giving you the platform in a way that way. No, it's cool because when I first got connected with you, I was looking at your platform. I'm like, you have such loyal followers and subscribers, and it's awesome. I think that's really cool. And I think that having these chat platforms, especially during a live show and podcasts and where people can talk about how they feel. I mean, that's what Philly's all about, it's connecting. So I think that's awesome. So shout out to all of you guys.
I love them. These are my family. I love my family. They ride or die. You know what I'm saying? They call me out a little bit too much, but it's all good. I still love them. But we are about to get out of here, man. I do appreciate everybody again. But y'all know what it is. It is Fly Goes Fly. And we are out here. Peace.
flies everywhere. This is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season hit, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for